Being in front of a video camera is way out of my comfort zone. So I thought I'd make this video sitting in what is a comfort zone for me, my woodworking shop. I'm surrounded by tools and equipment that belong to my father and my grandfathers, and it's a place where I build toys for my grandkids. So it's a real comfort zone to me. And I'd like to talk about some reflections and hopefully inspirations that I found during the COVID-19 pandemic. On the fourth Sunday of Easter, Pastor Rochelle talked to us about hearts overflowing. The message referenced Acts 2, verse 46, which describes the activities of early Christians, such as meeting in groups, eating together in families, with glad and generous hearts. Right now, we can't spend time in groups, and some of us may be really tired of spending so much time with our actual families, while others may be aching to hug grandkids, and we may be really lonely. So it might be hard to find enthusiasm for those glad and generous hearts that was described in the early Christian church. I've got to admit that I don't have the second chapter of Acts memorized. So I did what any Christian would do when you have questions about the Bible. I Googled it, and I learned a lot. But most importantly, the book of Acts was written by an author that is unknown to us. Let's think about that. The seminal work documenting early Christianity contained within the canon of Christian scripture, and the author didn't take credit for it. In this era of wanting credit and praise for every little thing we do, the author who wrote the book on early Christianity didn't take credit. That was refreshing. That was generosity to me. And as a musician, when I hear the phrase second chapter of Acts, I think of the Christian rock band of that name from the 1970s and 1980s. I didn't know a lot about the band, so I Googled them. And it turns out this is a trio of musicians who lost their parents at a young age. And they went on to make it in their lives through their music, their faith, and their sibling love. And it made me really realize that these minor inconveniences that I'm going through right now, not being able to collaborate with other musicians, are just minor setbacks. And it gave me some real perspective on this pandemic. And it makes me reflect on other blessings too. Abby and I are blessed to be close enough to visit two of our grandkids outdoors with appropriate social distancing. And we're able to do video chats with the other two grandkids. And we're happy that we're in 2020 and not 1920 where we couldn't do that. And a couple weeks ago, I was on a bike ride with my 5-year-old grandson. And here's this 5-year-old guy, cute little kid on a purple bike, red helmet with cartoon characters, riding around the neighborhood, and he's waving at everybody he sees. It put smiles on people's faces, and it truly was his heart overflowing. It was a glad and generous heart, and it made me stop and think about ways that I can make people feel this generosity as well. Some of us will be receiving federal stimulus checks. Many of us really need these checks to keep our families going, and for some of us it won't be nearly enough. And for those of us who are blessed not to be severely impacted financially by this pandemic, we may want to think about options for being generous. We can give to neighbors, we can give to family, to friends. And although this isn't intended to be an ad for giving to our church, yes, you can feel free to donate to the church. Remember, the Fairport United Methodist Church, like most churches, is a very efficient way of delivering services to people who really need them. So consider an extra gift if you can. And if financial gifts aren't a part of what you can do right now, think about giving skills and time. If you're bored being at home, there are errands you can do for neighbors. There are errands you can do for the church with appropriate social distancing factored in. And there's always an amount of yard work and other tasks around the building that would be helpful. Other organizations would certainly appreciate some of your help, even if it's from a distance. So I hope that these are inspirations. I might even call them challenges. Think of ways that you're blessed with family, friends, circumstances. Try to put a smile on somebody's face and give generously. Thanks.